നക്കണികൾ ദേവൻ ഒളികിടലോടനിപ്പോൾ നമ്മളെ നമ്പി കാന്തനക്കാളം മണത്തിന്മേൽ വെച്ച പെണ്ണെ മണത്തിന്മേ മകാഹ എത്രയണം ഞാന് എന്തെന്നാണ് മറന്നു പോയാണ് കണ്ണപുരാണയുഗൻ യശോദെ മഞ്ചനമാർഗങ്ങൾ പുതുവയ്ക്കും
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Hare Krishna. On behalf of ISKCON Scarborough, I'd like to welcome you on this glorious occasion where we are celebrating Shiva Ratri. Shiva Ratri means the night of Lord Shiva, and it is the day that Lord Shiva married Parvati on this very auspicious day. So today we are going to read a wonderful verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the ripened fruit of the Vedic tree of knowledge. We are going to read from Canto 4, Chapter 24, Text 30, and the title of this particular chapter is Chanting the Song Sung by Lord Shiva. Ata Bhagavata Yuyam Priyasta Bhagavan Yata Namad Bhagavathanam Cha Priyan Anyosti Kardichit. The translation: you're all devotees of the Lord, and as such I appreciate that you are as respectable as the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself. I know in this way the devotees also respect me, and that I am dear to them. Thus, no one can be as dear to the devotees as I am. Quote by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. It is said, Vaishnavanam Yata Sambhu. Lord Shiva is the best of all devotees. Therefore, all devotees of Lord Krishna are also devotees of Lord Shiva. So I would like to get your attention to this wonderful purport by ISKCON founder Acharya A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So again, I'm going to start from this. It's a long purport, but it's wonderful purport. It is said, Vaishnavanam Yata Sambhu. Lord Shiva is the best of all devotees. Therefore, all devotees of Lord Krishna are also devotees of Lord Shiva. In Vrindavan, there is Lord Shiva's temple called Gopishwara. The gopis used to worship not only Lord Shiva, but Katyayani or Durga as well, but their aim was to attain the favor of Lord Krishna. A devotee of Lord Krishna does not disrespect Lord Shiva, but worships Lord Shiva as the most exalted devotee of Lord Krishna. Consequently, whenever a devotee worships Lord Shiva, he prays to Lord Shiva to achieve the favor of Krishna, and he does not request material profit. In Bhagavad Gita 7.20, it is said that generally people worship demigods for some material profit. Kamaschaister hrita jnana. Driven by material lust, they worship demigods, but a devotee never does so, for he is never driven by material lust. That is the difference between a devotee's respect for Lord Shiva and an asura's respect for him. The asura worships Lord Shiva, takes some benediction from him, misuses the benediction, and ultimately is killed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who awards him liberation. Because Lord Shiva is a great devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he loves all the devotees of the Supreme Lord. Lord Shiva told the Prachetas that because they were devotees of the Lord, he loved them very much. Lord Shiva was not kind and merciful only to the Prachetas. Anyone who is a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very dear to Lord Shiva. Not only are the devotees dear to Lord Shiva, but he respects them as much as he respects the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Similarly, devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead also worship Lord Shiva as the most dear devotee of Lord Krishna. they do not worship him as a separate personality of Godhead. It is stated in the list of Nama Aparadas that it is an offense to think that the chanting of the name of Hari and the chanting of Hara or Shiva are the same. The devotees must always know that Lord Vishnu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and that Lord Shiva is his devotee. A devotee should be offered respect on the level of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and sometimes even more respect. Indeed, Lord Rama, the personality of Godhead himself, sometimes worshipped Lord Shiva. So again, I'm going to read that line. Lord Rama, the personality of Godhead himself, sometimes worshipped Lord Shiva. If a devotee is worshipped by the Lord, why should a devotee not be worshipped by other devotees on the same level with the Lord? This is the conclusion. From this verse, it appears that Lord Shiva blesses the Asuras simply for the sake of formality. Actually, he loves one who is devoted to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Om Ajnana Divirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuru Militamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him and to all the members of the Guru Parampara. Vanchakalpatirubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha paditana pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who are just like desire trees, fulfilling the desires of everyone, and are full of compassion for the fallen, conditioned souls. Again, this is a fascinating purport by Srila Prabhupada, and the key points is that here Srila Prabhupada is explaining if a devotee is worshipped by the Lord, because Lord Ramachandra sometimes worshipped Lord Shiva, why should a devotee not be worshipped by other devotees on the same level with the Lord? And Srila Prabhupada says this is the conclusion. So this is actually one of the verses from this chapter titled Chanting the Song Sung by Lord Shiva. To give you an overview of this particular verse that we just heard, a fascinating verse, is that there was a great king, Prachinabari, and he had a wife, and her name was Satadruti. And the Satadruti was most beautiful queen. And it is said that when they were getting married, all the demons and the devas also came for this wedding. And just by the tinkling of her ankle bells, all the demons and the demigods were all fascinated and intoxicated by the beauty of Satadruti. And a similar incident comes to our mind when we get to hear that tinkling of the ankle bells. We know that Vishwamitra Muni, he was actually meditating for many, many years. But by the tinkling of the ankle bells of Menaka, he lost everything, and then they had a famous daughter as well, Shakuntala. So this Satadruti is one of the most beautiful persons that you can ever see, according to Srimad Bhagavatam, and she's the daughter of the personality of ocean. And Prachinabari and Satadruti had 10 sons, and the 10 sons were collectively called as Prachetas. And they actually meditated for 10,000 years. So we know that this is not in any other yuga other than Satya Yuga. So they meditated for 10,000 years inside the ocean, which means in their grandfather's home, you can say, because their mother, Satadruti, was the daughter of the personality of ocean. So for 10,000 years, they were actually performing austerities and sacrifices to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And before they can do that, as soon as they left home, they met Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva instructed them with glorious prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the Pratechas took those prayers and they chanted those verses standing inside the ocean for 10,000 years. And eventually the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, appeared and granted them the boon that they will be extremely happy with all opulence and wealth for 1 million celestial years. So 1 million celestial years is not 1 million earthly years. So celestial years means 1 day in heavenly kingdom is 1 year here. So 12 plus 12 hours. So 1 million years, the Lord blessed the Prachetas to have all the opulence in the higher planetary system, and eventually they went back home, back to Godhead. So this is one of the verses that Lord Shiva spoke to the Prachetas. And the purport from Srila Prabhupada is a wonderful purport which explains to us the relationship between Lord Shiva and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Lord Shiva, Shiva means auspicious one. So that's the meaning of Shiva. And the position of Lord Shiva is very unique because he is in between Shiva Tattva and Vishnu Tattva. Tattva means truth. So he's in between. It is called Shiva Tattva. And also, by the way, there are, Srila Prabhupada explains that Lord Shiva means it's a post. It's a position. Which means there are millions and billions and trillions and countless Lord Shivas. And how is it possible? In each universe, just that there is one Indra, one Lord Brahma, there is one Lord Shiva in each universe. But then there are, in the material manifestation, there are trillions and trillions and countless number of Lord Shiva. And how do we know that? This is from Chaitanya Charitamrita, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself is instructing Sanatana Goswami once when Lord Brahma went to meet Lord Krishna in Dwarka. And at that time, we know this pastime, wonderful pastime, where the gatekeeper or the doorkeeper stops Lord Brahma and he asks, "Who are you?" And then Lord Brahma says, "I am Lord Brahma." And then the gatekeeper goes to Lord Krishna and says, "Lord Brahma has come." And then Lord Krishna asked, "Can you please ask this Lord Brahma, which Lord Brahma is this?" And then the gatekeeper came and asked Lord Brahma, "Which Lord Brahma are you?" Now Lord Brahma is taken aback. How can there be more than one Lord Brahma? There's only one Lord Brahma in this universe with 4 heads. So he tells this gatekeeper, "Please go and tell the Supreme Personality of Godhead that Lord Brahma with 4 heads, the father of 4 Kumaras has come." So this gatekeeper went and told Lord Krishna that Lord Brahma with 4 heads has come. So Lord Krishna said, "Please ask him to come." Lord Brahma goes in. Before, he offers his obeisances, and Lord Krishna asks, "How can I serve you?" And then Lord Brahma says, "Before I ask you, can I ask you another question?" Then Lord Krishna says, "Yes, please ask me." Then Lord Brahma asks, "Can I ask you, why did you ask the gatekeeper which Lord Brahma? I'm only one Lord Brahma in this universe." Then Lord Krishna smiled and he summoned all the Lord Brahmas from all the universes, all Lord Shivas from all the universes, all Lord Indras from all the universes. And it is said, the cosmic manifestation, 3/4 of cosmic manifestation is a spiritual world, and 1/4 of cosmic manifestation is material world. And in this 1/4 itself, there are trillions and trillions and countless number of universes, as we know. It is said, like, if you can think of a big room full of a big bag, and the bag contains full of mustard seeds, and each mustard seed is one universe. And in each universe there is one Lord Shiva, just like one Lord Indra and one Lord Brahma. And then it is said, there were many Lord Shivas, and some Shivas, or one Shiva had 100,000 heads, according to Chaitanya Charitamrita. And it is said, one Lord Shiva had 10 million heads. Now, just inconceivable for us to think, and from our material standpoint, we may start thinking, how can somebody have so many heads? You know, it's such a difficult task in the morning to brush 32 teeth in one head. Just imagine the number of heads and the number of teeth. It is offense to think that way, but from our conditioning we may think, how can with so many heads, how can we go through a room? Or how many pillows we may need to sleep? But this is beyond our sense perception. Just like an ant may think, how can anybody lift a leaf? From an ant's perspective, ant cannot even lift a leaf. But here a world champion weightlifter is lifting nearly 300 kgs with ease. And from an ant standpoint, it's impossible. And we may think, how can a living entity be more than 7 feet? You know, the tallest basketball players that we have seen is 7 foot. But when you think in terms of living entities, there is the sequoia tree, which is almost 1/4 the size of CN Tower, the height of sequoia tree you can see in California. So we have to think in terms of living entities and not in terms of human beings. So there were many. So there are many Lord Shivas in the material manifestation. And also Lord Shiva is very unique. Now, Brahma Samhita was spoken by Lord Brahma 155 trillion years ago. It's been proved that this was spoken 155 trillion years at the dawn of creation. And there it is said, Lord Shiva, the relationship between Lord Krishna and Lord Shiva. It is said, when milk is touched with a culture, you put something sour in milk, it becomes yogurt. So Lord Krishna, Lord Vishnu is compared to milk, and then when you add a culture, the milk turns into yogurt, which is Lord Shiva. So it is Achintya Beda Beda Tattva, inconceivably and simultaneously one and different. So there's no difference between Lord Shiva and Lord Krishna, but there is a difference. Inconceivably one and different. So the milk can become a yogurt, but the yogurt cannot become a milk. And when you think about it, yogurt is nothing but milk. But still there is a difference between milk and yogurt. And in the 23rd verse of the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, amongst the Rudras, I am Lord Shiva. So there's no difference. But inconceivably and simultaneously one and different. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj explains that just like you take an iron rod and put it into fire, it acquires the characteristic of a fire. So it's no longer considered an iron rod. It is considered for practical purpose as fire. So there's no difference between fire and the iron rod. There's no difference between Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna. So that's a brief overview of who Lord Shiva is. And also Lord Shiva is known by many names. As you know, Lord Shiva is called as Nataraja. Nataraja means the great cosmic dancer. He's also referred to as Ardhanariswar. Ardhanariswar is half male, half female. He's also called as Mahesha. Mahesha means the great Lord. And he's also called as Mahadeva. Mahadeva means great demigod. And he's also called as Asutosh. Asutosh means, for those of you who are from the Bengal part, you know that Asutosh means one who is very easily pleased, but also he gets angry very fast as well. But Asutosh means, in general, it is meant that he is very easily pleased. And he's also called as Bhuteshwar, the Lord of the ghosts. He's also called as Pasupati, Lord of beasts and beast. And he's also called as Tripurari. So anybody here remembers how Lord Shiva got the name Tripurari? It is in the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. It's a fascinating pastime. Once there was a leader of the demons, and his name was Maya Dhanava. And this Maya Dhanava was a great mystic demon. We read about Maya Dhanava in many chapters of Srimad Bhagavatam as well as in Mahabharata. So this Maya Dhanava is also got a son who actually resides in Atala planet. We hear that from Srimad Bhagavatam. So this Maya Dhanava is a great mystic. And this Maya Dhanava built 3 invisible residences. It is also referred to as 3 invisible aeroplanes. So he built these 3 invisible aeroplanes which are made of gold, one was made of silver, and one was made of iron. Now these are residences made of gold, silver and iron, but nobody can see it because Maya Dhanava made it to be invisible, and all the demons there, using this power, the invisible, they destroyed the demigods. They captured the lower, middle and upper planetary system. This is the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And all the demigods were helpless. So they go to Lord Shiva, please protect us from these demons. And Lord Shiva, who is very merciful, very compassionate, said, do not worry, I will save all of you. So he takes this bow and arrow and he releases these arrows, and it is said that these arrows were going towards these demons to those 3 residents, because Lord Shiva can see, others cannot see, but Lord Shiva is not different from Lord Krishna, as we just heard, like milk and yogurt. So he can see the demons inside these 3 invisible residences, and the arrows are shot like beams of sun rays, and these demons are killed. And they get hit by the arrows and they fall down. And this great mystic Maya Danava has created a big well called as Mrita Sanjeeva Itari. So it is mentioned in the purport by Srila Prabhupada. So this nectar means Amrit. Amrit means, Mrit means death. Amrit means no death. So here, Mrita Sanjeeva Itari is this Amrit well that is created by this Maya Danava, and all these dead demons fall into this well and immediately wake up with the power of thunderbolt. They have so much power like thunderbolts, much more than the power that they had before they died. So just imagine all these demons are getting hit by these beams, sunbeam like arrow, and they are killed, and they fall down into this well that is made by Maya Danava, and it's called Mrita Sanjeeva Itari, and they come back to life with so much more power than they had before. Now it is a very complicated solution. Now what can be done? So at that time, Lord Vishnu assumes the form of a cow, and he requests Lord Brahma to assume the form of a calf. And both of them go, this well of Amrit is there, both of them go at noon. It says in Srimad Bhagavatam, they don't go in the night when none of these demons are seeing. During the day, when it's the brightest part of the day, which is noon, they quietly go, the cow and the calf go and drink the full nectar. So not even a drop of nectar is left there. By the Yoga Maya potency, none of these demons can do anything. Not even a drop of Mrita Sanjeeva Itari is left. And immediately, Lord Vishnu gives a wonderful chariot, a charioteer, many horses, elephant, and again wonderful bows and arrows to Lord Shiva. And with that, he destroys these three residences again. And that is the time when Lord Shiva was conferred this name, Tripurari. Three means three, Tripurari means who is the destroyer of these three invisible residences, which were like aeroplanes, which was like floating. And they were able to kill all the demigods with that power, but Lord Shiva destroyed them. So that is how he got this name of Tripurari. And the appearance of Lord Shiva is also wonderfully explained in Srimad Bhagavatam, which is in the 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So here it is said that Lord Brahma is the secondary creator, as you know, and he created the situations first, the circumstances. And what were the circumstances? That everybody has got this false ego, everybody has forgotten their true identity, and how anger comes from frustration. So all these conditions were set forth or created by Lord Brahma first. And then he created the 4 Kumaras. So the 4 Kumaras were Sanaka, Sananda, Sanatana and Sanat Kumara. These are the 4 mind-born sons of Lord Brahma. So they were the first created living entities. And as soon as they were created, because Lord Brahma was given the task for procreation, that means filling up the earth, and he created his sons, and to start off with the 4 Kumaras, so that they can get married and they can have children and populate the entire earth. So Lord Brahma said, my dear sons, they are eternally 5-year-old, by the way, 4 Kumaras. Please get married and have children. And what did the 4 Kumaras say? No. We do not want to be implicated in this material life. No. It will destroy our spiritual progress. We do not want to get into married life. And just imagine, they are speaking to their father. So the children, the sons are supposed to listen to their father. That is one thing. But more importantly, they are speaking to Lord Brahma, who is the secondary creator of this whole universe. And they said, no, you're not going to get married at all. And Lord Brahma was so furious, so angry. This again in the 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the 12th chapter. He's so angry, Lord Brahma, but he controlled his anger. But his anger manifested from in between his eyebrows. And Rudra appeared with the color of blue and red. Because blue is the color of ignorance and red is the color of passion. And anger is a product of ignorance and passion. So Rudra, who is none other than Lord Shiva, appeared from between the eyebrows of Lord Brahma when he was extremely angry. So that is the appearance of Lord Shiva or Lord Rudra, which is mentioned in the 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And when he appeared, he said, okay, give me a name and place to stay. And that is the time when he was given the name Rudra because he was crying. Rudra means crying. So he was crying and he said, I need a place to stay. So Lord Brahma gave him 11 different names as well. And he said, you will be marrying 11 different wives, collectively known as Rudranis. And you will be staying in 11 different places. And he had given him 11 different places. And what are the 11 different places? Places like earth, water, fire, air, sky, moon, sun, the breath, the life's breath, and many places, 11 different places. Now you may be wondering, how can it be earth? What has that got to do? So when there is earthquake, that is a manifestation of anger. Earth, water, when there is torrential rain, that is manifestation of anger. Earth, water, fire, of course it is manifestation of anger. Fire, air, when there is tornadoes, hurricanes, that's a manifestation of anger. And then sun, when it is too hot, it's a manifestation of anger. And Prabhupada says even when moon is too cool, it causes some problem. So that is also manifestation of anger. And also the senses. Rudra's place, one of the residents is the senses, because when we are angry, our hands shake and our eyes gets red. So these are all the places. And also the Rudra principle is manifested in various pastimes. We can see in Ambarish Maharaj's pastime, Durvasa Muni exhibited so much of anger which had this Rudra principle according to Srila Prabhupada. And also Shringi. Remember Shringi? Shringi is the son of Shamika who cursed Maharaj Parikshit, because Maharaj Parikshit had garlanded Shamika Rishi with a dead snake and his son was so angry. That's a manifestation of Rudra as well. So these are all the places where Rudra was given, and then in due course of time, Rudra had many offspring, sons and grandsons, and they were all furious and angry according to Srimad Bhagavatam, and they were ready to devour the entire universe. They were ready to devour the entire universe. And then Lord Brahma said, please continue with your austerity and tapas. Now is not the time for you to devour the universe. There will be a time when the universe has to be destroyed, and at that time Rudra and Rudra's offspring will come. But right now, please just meditate. So that is the appearance of Lord Rudra or Lord Shiva according to Srimad Bhagavatam, the 3rd canto, the 12th chapter. And also, since then there were many sons created, manifested from different parts of Lord Brahma. For example, from the breathing, Vasishtha Muni appeared. Then from eyes of Lord Brahma, Atri, sage Atri appeared. Then from the shadow, Kardama Muni appeared, from the shadow of Lord Brahma. So many great personalities appeared from Lord Brahma. So they are all brothers of Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva is the son of Lord Brahma, because he appeared from his body. Like Narada Muni appeared from the best part of Lord Brahma, which is the deliberation. Marichi appeared from the mind of Lord Brahma. Pulatsya from the ear. From the touch, it was Bhrigu Muni. From the hand, it was Kratu Muni. So many wonderful personalities appeared after Lord Rudra appeared. So that is how Lord Rudra had appeared. And then, as we know, Lord Shiva is very, very compassionate. We hear a wonderful pastime from Mahabharata, a great king called Chitrabhanu. So this pastime is narrated by Bhishma when he was in the bed of arrows. And this is a wonderful pastime. Once there was a great king called Chitrabhanu, and he was with his wife, and together they were performing austerities on Shivaratri, Mahashivaratri. And at that time, Ashtavakra Muni, Ashtavakra means 8 places he is crooked. He's a great Muni, but his name is Ashtavakra Muni. Ashtavakra Muni had come and he's asking the king, what is that you're doing? And then King Chitrabhanu is telling him, I can remember my past life. In my past life, I was a very, very evil hunter by the name of Sushvara. And I was living in Varanasi or Kasi. Kasi is a very holy place. But here this hunter, Shushvara, was there. He was hunting all the birds and animals. He kills them and then he sells them, and he takes whatever he gets as compensation for him giving the dead animal. He buys food and then he was feeding his family. So one night, after he had hunted a deer. So the deer is dead. And before he can take this deer to sell it in the market and then buy some food in return to go home to feed his hungry wife and children, it was so dark in the night and the wild animals started coming in the way, inside in the forest. So he climbed for safety, but he did not leave his deer. He carried his deer, hung the deer in a branch, and then he was sitting. It was so cold in that night in the forest, and he was crying, he was shedding tears because he knows that his young child is so hungry, and it's not that they have food stored for many days like we do now. It's just on that day they buy the food and they cook and they eat. So he knows that his child and his wife are so hungry, but he's helpless because he cannot go home with his deer and sell and get the food because it was so dark and so many wild beasts are going. So he climbed on top of the tree and he started crying, shedding tears, and also to pass this time he was plucking the leaves and he was throwing it down so that he stays awake, so that if he goes to sleep he may even fall down. So the whole night he was awake, he was sacrificing, he was so hungry, he was also plucking this leaf and throwing it down and shedding tears. And what had happened is, below this tree there was a Shiva Linga. So inadvertently, that is not with his knowledge, inadvertently when he cried, the tears were doing abhishek of the Shiva Linga down. And also inadvertently when he was passing his time by plucking this leaf and throwing, there was Bilva leaf, which is so dear to Lord Shiva. So he was performing austerity because he was so hungry and he sacrificed his sleep and he was shedding tears which formed abhishek for the Lord, and he was also offering this wonderful leaf which is very dear to Lord Shiva. And he didn't know that he was doing this wonderful deed. In the morning, all the wild beasts went away. He did not forget his dead deer. He took the dead deer, went to the market, sold it, took whatever was his reimbursement as a barter system, then got some food, went home, and then before they ate, there was a person who said, "I'm so hungry, can I have something to eat?" So even before he ate, in spite of his hunger, he offered it to that person, and then he ate. And then, so this is again the conversation by Chitrabhanu too. He's explaining it to Ashtavakra Rishi. And he said, at the time of this hunter's death, which is Sushvara's death, two great personalities came, Shivadutas came, like Vishnudutas. They took him to the abode of Lord Shiva, and he spent thousands of years there with all the wonderful opulence and wealth. And then in the next life, he came back as King Chitrabhanu. So inadvertently also when somebody did this worship to Lord Shiva, he was so compassionate that he gave him this opulence in the higher planetary system. So that is the compassionate nature of Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva is also called as Paradukha Dukhi. Paradukha Dukhi means one who is very sad when someone else is not happy. And he is happy when others are happy. So an example of that is, we read from the 8th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where Lord Vishnu instructed the demigods to work collaboratively with the demons and then churn this ocean of milk to get the Amrit. We talked about Amrit later, so Amrit, so that the demigods can drink that nectar. So here the demigods and the demons together bring in this Mandara mountain as the churning rod, and then they bring in Vasuki as the rope to churn the rod and to churn this ocean. And then Lord Vishnu assumes this form of Kurma, which is the tortoise, so that the mountain can rest on his back, and he felt the sensation of scratching as the mountain was being churned, and the ocean was being churned with the help of mountain. And also the Lord assumed the form of a 1,000-arm form personality, and he was holding the top of the mountain so that it does not tilt. And also there is another personality by the name of Ajita who started churning and things started coming out. And the first thing that came out was Hala or Kalakuta poison. Now diametrically opposite to what the expected result was, because they were expecting Amrit to come, and what came was poison. And this poison, according to Srimad Bhagavatam, was spreading across the 3 worlds, and Lord Vishnu always gets pleasure in glorifying his devotees. So he instructed all the demigods to go to Lord Shiva for protection. And Lord Shiva said to Parvati, Lord Supreme Personality of Godhead is pleased when he actually protects the living entities. And when the Supreme Personality of Godhead is pleased, Lord Shiva is pleased. He's saying, I will be pleased. And when I am pleased, all the living entities are also pleased because the Supreme Personality of Godhead is pleased. And he gets the permission of Parvati, his wife, and then he goes, he condenses or makes it so small so that the poison that is spreading across the 3 worlds is now fitting into his palm. And then he drank, because such a compassionate nature of Lord Shiva is called Paradukka Dukhi, because he does not want the other living entities to die. And this is poison. And he takes it in his palm and he drinks it. And you can see the blue line in the neck of Lord Shiva, and that is the ornament of his compassion. And then some of the drops, it says in Srimad Bhagavatam, some poison from this Halara Kalakuta poison fell down, and then the scorpions and the cobras and other jackals, all these took a drop of this poison that fell, and that is why they are poisonous now. According to Srimad Bhagavatam, the scorpions and snakes, they all tasted this Hala Kalakuta poison. So that is the compassionate nature of Lord Shiva. And then if you go to Vrindavan, many of you would have gone to Vrindavan, and in Vrindavan there is this wonderful temples of Lord Shiva everywhere. He's called as Dikpalas. That means he's the protector of the directions and protector of the dhams. If you go to Mathura, there are wonderful Lord Shiva's temple on all 4 sides. So in the northern side of Mathura, it is Gokarneshwar Mahadev. In the southern part of, south part of Mathura, that is Rangeshwar Mahadev. In the eastern part of Mathura, it is Pipaleshwar Mahadev. And the western part of Mathura, it is Bhuteshwar Mahadev. You may have heard some of these wonderful temples there. Especially this Bhuteshwar Mahadev temple on the western part of Mathura. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, we read how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself went and offered respectful obeisances to Bhuteshwar Mahadev. And also, Rupa Goswami quotes from Adivaraha Purana about the glories of Bhuteshwar Mahadev, who the temple is in the western part of Mathura. And there are also wonderful temples elsewhere. Gopeshwar Mahadev. Gopeshwar Mahadev is the wonderful Lord Shiva's temple in Vrindavan. He is the protector of the holy dham of Vrindavan. You or anybody, we cannot enter Vrindavan without Lord Shiva's permission. So here he is there as Gopeshwar. Without Gopeshwar Mahadev's permission and approval, we cannot enter Vrindavan. And also there is Chakreshwar Mahadev in Manasi Ganga, close to Manasi Ganga. And then there is also Nandeshwar Mahadev in Nandagaon, where Lord Krishna was growing up. So these are all wonderful Lord Shiva's temples in Vrindavan. Even in Mayapur, because he is the protector of the holy dhams. In the center of Mayapur is Antardweep. And in the center of Antardweep is Yogapeeth. Yogapeeth is the place where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared beneath this neem tree. And there 2 Shivalingas are there. So he's the protector of the holy dhams. And what about this Gope? We'll hear about Nandeshwar Mahadev first. So it is said that Lord Shiva performed penance for many thousands of years to get the structure of this hill. It is said this Nanda Maharaj's palace rests on the hill, and the hill is not different from Lord Shiva. And there's a wonderful pastime when Lord Krishna appeared in Mathura. Then he was transferred to Nanda Maharaj's palace, which is Nandagaon area. And there Lord Shiva was so keen on getting the darshan of Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva decides to go in his original form. Lord Shiva's original form, as you can see there, he's got 3 eyes. He's got nice hair, but when he went there, it is said in our literatures, he went with long, unkept matted hair, and he's got ashes all over his body. and he's got the garlands of snake, as you can see, garlands of snake, and he's also got a belt of scorpion. He's got a belt of scorpion. So he goes in this form, and then he goes to the palace of Nanda Maharaj, and then Mother Yashoda comes out, and he says, I want to see your newborn baby, the baby who's here. Then Mother Yashoda said, no, you cannot see. When the baby sees you, the baby will get scared and he will start crying. Please, you're a great mendicant. Whatever you want, I will offer it to you. You want best prasadam, you want best clothing, because he came in the deer skin too, right? We'll give you anything that you want. Because Nanda Maharaj is the king, we'll give you anything, but you cannot you cannot see this baby. Baby cannot see you, he'll get scared. Then Lord Shiva said, no, I insist, I want to see the baby. Then Mother Yashoda, you cannot. Whatever you do, you cannot. You can stay here for hundreds of years, but you cannot see. Then Lord Shiva is thinking, what can I do? I want to take darshan of the Lord, but I'm unable to. So he says, okay, he starts leaving, and he says, by the way, you will call me pretty soon to come back to the palace. Mark my word. And then Mother Yashoda says, no way I'm going to call you. Look at you, all these. Please leave before the snakes and the scorpions fall down and crawl all over the place. Please leave. And then Lord Shiva, in all sadness, returns. And at that time, Lord Krishna knows that Lord Shiva was displeased. He was not happy to leave without seeing him, and he starts crying. Whatever the gopis and the gopas and Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, whatever they try to do to pacify Lord Krishna continues to cry. And then Lalita comes and she asks Mother Yashoda, was there a great sage who came and did he go displeased or unhappy? Then Mother Yashoda says, yes, there was a personality who came, mendicant who came. I offered him everything, but he said, no, I want to see Lord Krishna, this baby. And then Lalita said, you see, because he was displeased, and that is why, as a result, this baby is crying and nobody can stop, and we are also going through this pain of not knowing how to stop this baby from crying. I have to go bring the sadhu, and he has to see the baby. And then Mother Yashoda gives the description as to how Lord Shiva was, and it was very easy to describe, with a lot of garlands of snake and belt of scorpion. So Lalita brings back Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva comes, takes the baby Krishna, and places Lord Krishna on his lap, and immediately Lord Krishna places his lotus feet on the head. And then Lord Shiva gives the baby back, and he starts playing in his drums, and he's dancing in ecstasy, and Lord Krishna starts laughing. Because little babies, they start laughing when there is drum beat and dance. He could not stop laughing and being happy, and then Lord Shiva is continuing to drumming, and he continues to dance, and then Mother Yashoda is so pleased, and Mother Yashoda says, I want you to stay here permanently. Because when you are here permanently, then my son is always happy, he's always smiling and laughing. Then Lord Shiva was so happy to get this opportunity, and he says, two conditions. One is, I'll be in this Nandagaon. The two conditions are, every day I need the Charanamrit. That means the water that washes the feet of your son, I need the Charanamrit, as well as I need the Prasad that is offered to the baby. I need that. So from that day, even today, in Nandagaon, Nandeshwar Maharaj is there. He gets the Charanamrit and Prasad first before anybody can get. And then Gopeshwar Maharaj, wonderful pastime. Lord Shiva and Parvati wanted to go see the Rasa dance. And then Lord Shiva was stopped. No male can go. Only male that is allowed, who's allowed in this Rasa dance is Lord Krishna. No, you cannot go. So Parvati was allowed inside, but Lord Shiva was not allowed. And then he's so sad that he can't go into the Rasa dance. And at that time he meets Purnamasi. Purnamasi is the mother of the spiritual master of Lord Krishna, who is Sandipani Muni. And then Purnamasi says, okay, if you want to go in, you have to become a gopi. You have to become a female. You cannot go in a male body. Go take a bath in Yamuna and come back. You will get a form of a gopi. Then you can enter into the Rasa dance. And then there's also another variation. It is in another literature. It says that Lord Shiva approached Purnamasi, and Purnamasi sent Lord Shiva to Vrinda Devi, and Vrinda Devi said, go take bath in Manasarovar lake and come back. So either way, he comes back as a gopi, but this gopi has a half moon in the head. And then Lord Shiva in the form of a gopi enters the Rasa dance, and all the gopis are asking, who's this new gopi here with this half moon in the head? Where are you from? How many cows you have? Oh, they start asking all these questions. They're suspecting who's... And Lord Shiva was unable to answer. He didn't expect all these questions from these gopis. And they were about to tell Lord Shiva in the form of, "Go, please go from here, you're an imposter." At that time, Purnamasi comes and says, "This is none other than Lord Shiva." And then they say, "Okay, you cannot participate in this Rasa Leela, but you can observe this Rasa Leela." And then Lord Krishna gives the post and instructs Lord Shiva, "You will be the guardian of Vrindavan, and nobody can enter the Rasa Leela without." And there is also Chakleshwar Mahadev. Chakleshwar Mahadev is near Manasi Ganga. Sanatana Goswami is one of the 6 Goswamis, a great devotee of Lord Krishna, but he also worshipped Lord Shiva in the mood that Srila Prabhupada explained here, to get closer to Lord Krishna. So here, whenever he's in Vrindavan, he's in this Madan Mohan temple, but when he goes near Govardhan, he is close to this Manasi Ganga, near this Chakleshwar, in that area, Manasi Ganga area. Once, there were so many mosquitoes started biting him. There's so many mosquitoes in this area. And then he decided, now I have to write so many literatures based on the instruction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but there are too many mosquitoes here, so I'm going back to Vrindavan, not to come back here to Manasi Ganga area. At that time, Lord Shiva wants the association of Sanatana Goswami, so he says, so Lord Shiva assumes the form of a Brahmin, and he goes to Sanatana Goswami. "How may I help you? What should we do to make you stay here near the Manasi Ganga area?" And then Sanatana Goswami says, "It's not a big problem, it's a small problem, just a lot of mosquitoes here, I'm not able to write my Vedic literature." So Lord Shiva was extremely happy that it's not a big issue which he needs to solve. So what does Lord Shiva do? In the form of his Brahmin, he says to Sanatana Goswami, "Just give me one night and this problem will go away." And in that night, what did Lord Shiva do? He summoned the demigod responsible for insects. Now if you're thinking, is there a demigod responsible for insects? There are 330 million demigods, and one demigod is there even to open and close our eyelid. And by the way, the gopis hate this demigod. Out of all the demigods, they hate this demigod who's responsible for moving the eyelid. Why? Because this intoxicated looking at the beauty of Lord Krishna, and this eyelid comes as a curtain once in a while. Close, close. So they say, "We hate you, Lord Brahma, for creating this, this demigod who's responsible for this eyelid, because we cannot continuously see Lord Krishna. We have to close once in a while." So there is a demigod responsible for this insect, and Lord Shiva, in the form of a Brahmin, called this demigod, "Keep away from Sanatana Goswami in this area." And it is said even now, this area is absolutely free of mosquitoes, close to Manasi Ganga. So these are wonderful pastimes of Lord Shiva in Vrindavan area. And also, Lord Krishna, as we heard from this purport, Lord Ramachandra prayed to Lord Shiva. So it is stated, it is not in Valmiki Ramayana, but in other forms of Ramayana, that Lord Ramachandra offered his worship to Lord Shiva. And even in Srimad Bhagavatam, we hear that Nanda Maharaj, his brother Sananda, as well as Lord Krishna, all of them go to celebrate Shivaratri. Exactly, it says, to celebrate Shivaratri. They go to Ambika Vana. They go to the forest, and then it is said that Nanda Maharaj and his brother fasted the whole night. They just drank water, and they gave so much of wealth in charity to all the demigods, to commemorate this wonderful Shivaratri. And also, if you remember this, if I fast forward this particular pastime, that's the time when Nanda Maharaj is swallowed by a snake, and then everybody starts eating the snake with fiery sticks, and nothing they were able to do. And then Lord Krishna came and placed his foot on the head of the snake, and then immediately he turns into a Vidyadhara, and his name was Sudarshana, effulgent personality. And he says, I disrespected the descendants of Angira Muni. If you remember, 20 minutes ago we heard about how Angira Muni appeared from the mouth of Brahma. So he disrespected the descendants of Angira Muni, and he was cursed to be a snake. And also Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is one chapter which says Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visits holy places. So I went and did a count. It's a long chapter, many verses, but when you count, there are 14 Lord Shiva's temple that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally went and offered obeisances. Now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality. He offers obeisances to Lord Shiva. 14 different temples. Not 1, 2, 14 different temples. And Lord Shiva appeared in the form of a Brahmin and his wife Parvati as a Brahmin's wife. And for 3 days in Sri Sailam, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed in the house of Lord Shiva, who took the form of a Brahmin, and his wife was Parvati. But wherever Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went, he changed the Shaivites to Vaishnavites. It says in Chaitanya Charitamrita. And also when he is offering obeisances to Lord Shiva, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So these are all the facts that we need to know. And also when Nanda Maharaj went to celebrate this Shivaratri, it is said that once upon a time, so Prabhupada does not say that it's all the time every year, but once they went in bullock carts to Ambika Vana. So now, just because Lord Krishna desires to worship, sometimes worship the devotees as well, and Lord Shiva is the greatest Vaishnava, it does not mean that Lord Shiva is greater than Lord Krishna. So that's the purport that Srila Prabhupada is teaching us. We also hear in the 10th canto, Sudama Vipra, he goes with 4 handful of broken rice in a dirty bag and he goes to Dwarka. And what happens then? It's amazing. Lord Krishna brings this Sudama Vipra, Vipra means Brahmin, plays and makes him sit on the bed, washes the feet of Sudama Vipra. So it's not the other way. Sudama Vipra is not washing the feet of Supreme Personality of God. Sudama Vipra's feet is washed by Lord Krishna, and Lord Krishna takes the water and splashes in his head, and then he anoints Sudama Vipra. He's like a beggar, as we know. He's got no wealth, nothing. He anoints him with sandalwood paste, and Lord Krishna offers him incense and lamp. Can you imagine this? So does that mean that Sudama Vipra is the Supreme Personality of Godhead? No. Lord Krishna is the charioteer of Arjun. Does that mean that Arjun is superior to Lord Krishna? Nanda Maharaj's shoes is lifted by Lord Krishna in the head. Does that mean Nanda Maharaj is Supreme Personality of Godhead? Mother Yasoda is twisting the ear of Lord Krishna. Does that mean she is superior? Some children are lifted by the father and put on the shoulder. Does that mean the child is more superior than the father? No. Here the mood of Lord Krishna is to extol the devotees, to glorify the devotees, and he goes on to worship the devotees as he does to Lord Shiva as well as Sudama Vipra. So in summary, we worship today on this auspicious night of Lord Shiva. We worship and pray to Lord Shiva to grant us pure devotional service at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. And he is the greatest Vaishnava, Vaishnavanam Yathasambhu. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Gaur Premanande. Hare Krishna.
Once again, give a big applause for Rananda Gaur. Haribol. Thank you.
Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Bhagye
कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण कृष्ण कृष्ण
हरे हरे
हरे हरि
हरे राम
हरे राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण हरे राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण Radhe Radha Gopi Vallabh Radha Gopi Vallabh Radha Gopi Vallabh Radhe Radha Gopi Vallabh Radha Gopi Vallabh Radha Gopi Vallabh Radhe Radha Gopi Vallabh Radha Gopi Vallabh Radha Gopi Vallabh Radhe Jai Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jai Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jai Lakshmi Narasimha Jai Lakshmi Narasimha Lakshmi Narasimha Jai Lakshmi Narasimha Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gaura Premanande Hari Hari
जय नमो विष्णुपाद परमहंस पूज्यपाचार्य श्रीला श्री भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की जय फाउंडर आचार्य इस्कॉन गुरु बीबीटी गुरु श्रीला वेचर नारायण भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की जय नमो नित्य लीला प्रवेश परमहंस पूज्यपाचार्य श्रीला भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर गोस्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की जय नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय गंगमय की जय गमनामय की जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपनाथ राधा कृष्ण श्याम गिरिगोविंदानी की जय जगन्नाथ प्रदेश सुभद्रमय की जय वृंदावन धाम की जय मायापुर नवदीप धाम की जय मथुरा धाम की जय पूरी धाम की जय प्रेम से कहो जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय हरिनाम संकीर्तन महायज्ञ की जय श्री श्री राधा गोपी वल्लभ की जय श्री श्री राधा गोपी वल्लभ की जय प्रहलाद नरसिंह की जय भक्ति देवी तुलसी देवी की जय सवेद भक्तों की जय गौ सीतरा प्रेमानंद हरि हरि बोल all Garishta Assembly all Garishta Assembly all Garishta Assembly all Garishta Guru Gauranga all Garishta Srila Prabhupada all Garishta Srila Buddhi Tegau Sitara Premanande Vaishnava Sarvama Lord Shiva ki Jai
Namaste
स्वामी देव की, भक्तराज प्रहलाद महाराज की, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की, गौ सिद्धनाथ के महाराज।
And today's event is sponsored by His Grace Dirnitai Prabhu. So we kindly request Prabhu to come forward and accept this wonderful Krishna book in Tamil. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So today is actually Prabhu's father's tithi. His name is Tambaya Sivaprakasham. Note Prabhu is also going on a spiritual tour to Mayapur and other holy dhams in India for about a month, starting tomorrow. So we wish him all the very best and good luck. So we wish Prabhu has safe travels and brings in lot of mercy from the holy dhams. Hare Krishna. And on a sad note, Bala Prabhu passed away last Sunday. Some of you may have known, some of you may not know. So a group of devotees were there on Wednesday, and we were performing Kirtan for about an hour or so, and also glorifying the contributions of Bala Prabhu. So if you, just to recap on some of the contributions of Bala Prabhu, this wonderful harmonium that you see here was specially ordered from the headquarters where all the harmoniums are made from. This wonderful harmonium more than a year ago, and just to give you a background of that, so it was about $700 or $750, and Prabhu said, no, I'm not worried about the money, please get this. And every time we take darshan, it is because of Prabhu's mercy, because he had sponsored all these wonderful curtains.
Oh,
Hare